anyone in politics or the establishment media actually taking illegal immigration seriously enough? Let's get the thoughts on my panel now. We've got editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths, got former BBC chief political correspondent John Sargent, and former Labour Party advisor Stella Chantakidou. All of you, thank you very, very much. Charlotte, I'll start with you. We've taken our eye off the ball when it comes to lorries, I think, haven't we?
I think so. It's kind of quite retro looking at those clips, isn't it? Because I just remember seeing all those lorry clips years and years ago, and here they are back again. And I think it's a bit like whack-a-mole, isn't it? Because we've been focusing so much on the boats, but here they are, the truly desperate, because if you go in a lorry, it's free, obviously, so you get those incredibly desperate people that don't even have the money to pay for these awful boats that sort of nearly kill them. It just feels like it's whack-a-mole. It feels like we've gone back a few years and we've got that same old problem with the Calais crossing.
And John, when it comes to the lorry side of things, I mean, I was just pulling my hair out. We had, obviously, the Rwanda bill this week and all the controversy around that. And, you know, for all of this talk of we're going to stand up tall, the right wing of the Tory party, a load of them marched up the hill and marched back down again for, like, the second or third time. Only 11 Tory MPs voted against it. And now we're in a situation where we can say, well, look, the weather's been bad, the small boats crossings have been down, but actually people, as we predicted, because we dispatched Mark White over there to a lorry park because we thought this would happen, people are just coming in lorries en masse, and at least when they come on boats and they get to Dover or wherever, we pick them up and then we've got them, right? When they come in the back of lorries, if they get through, they're just at keel services before you know it, and they're off, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole system, in fact, is now in such a state that people have lost faith in it. That's why... So when the government are talking and Westminster talking in a rather narrow way about the boats and what will happen and what will the House of Lords do, I think it's not surprising that the overall figures, when the opinion poll comes out on do you believe that the Rwanda scheme will work, amazingly, 3/4 of the people questioned think it won't work. Well, now, that's partly because I think they just think, well, nothing seems to work. And it's not just the lorries. What is amazing is what's happening in Ireland, where you're getting a lot of people arriving in Ireland, going through Northern Ireland, getting on the ferry and disappearing.
Yeah, no, absolutely spot on. And the people of Ireland, by the way, have taken quite a different approach to a lot of communities here in Britain. You are seeing quite high-level civil unrest right across the Republic of Ireland. I'm just going to read a couple of the comments, because I was asking on Twitter earlier, you know, is nobody taking illegal immigration seriously? And a few people echo what you've just said there. Look, give up, Patrick. None of the two major parties intend to stop them. You know, what's going on? We need an entire reset, says somebody. Why bother, says one. Britain's long gone by now. But Stella, I don't think you think illegal immigration is a particularly big problem, do you?
No, I don't. It's because it's not, Patrick. Actually, as a matter of fact, around 1% of the UK population is undocumented. So that is a very small percentage of the UK population. This is a very small number of people. You are showing all of these extremely desperate people clinging onto the backs of lorries. You are never going to stop them. And they've been there forever. The kind of person who is going to take all of these risks to move to another country has always existed. These people are going to migrate no matter what.
What if they're a member of ISIS?
Yeah, that is concerning. I would not like
and we
to
and we wouldn't know, would we? Because they're
you wouldn't know,
undocumented.
but you can make the same argument
But do you think
about
that's a
any
problem?
kind of person. Yes, I do think that's a problem.
Right. So we do need to stop illegal immigration.
But I don't think that a member of ISIS would go through all of these routes to come here. I think the people who come here through these types of situations are either asylum seekers or people who are extremely determined to come here. And I think that these are extreme cases. I think what is actually happening here is that politicians have once again found a very, very convenient problem to pin all of the problems that we are having as a country right now. They are telling people the reason why you are dissatisfied, the reason why the economy is tanking, the reason why you are suffering with high energy costs and with inflation is because of immigrants. And guess what? This is a tale as old as time.
It's not entirely untrue, though, is it? That because you know it doesn't take a genius to work out that if you've got record NHS waiting times, you've got a housing crisis, you've got all of this stuff, that rapid high-level population growth is a major factor for them.
But if you look at the percentage of immigration as a percentage of the population of the UK, immigration...
Well, 750,000 people a year is I think, by most people's
You are giving me an
metrics,
absolute
starting.
number, but actually, if you're looking at the percentages, the population is also rising. The amount of immigration we are seeing is not unlike the immigration we used to see in previous decades.
Well, I think
Globally, when you're looking globally, international immigration and the amount of refugees we have is not uncommon compared to previous decades.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we probably have a little bit less refugees right now than we used to.
OK, all right. I mean, fundamentally, though, that doesn't really change whether or not it's actually still too many, though, does it?
But the reason we have immigration in this country is because there are major labour gaps, and it is because businesses is lobbying the government.
Look, we have got other members on the panel, so I am going to go to them. But actually, the idea is that we are worse off per capita, and you cannot get around the fact that we've got a giant economic immigration Ponzi scheme that is about to go bust. But Charlotte, when it comes to taking illegal immigration seriously enough, do you think there is some truth to what Stella is saying there, which is that governments maybe use illegal immigration as a way of diverting from some other bigger issues that they've got, or not?
I don't think so. I disagree with quite a lot of what you said there. I don't think they do say immigration's to blame for loads of things. I just think it's genuinely a national problem that people are concerned about, and they occasionally pay lip service to the fact that people are really worried about it. They don't they don't blame everything that's going wrong. You know, the cost of living crisis is a lot to do with Ukraine.
Yep.
You know, nobody's saying the cost of living crisis is to do with immigration, but you know, but there is a real problem with fatigue. People just see them talking in Westminster for hours and hours and days on end. And every day that goes by, tens of thousands of people are coming over. And you just think you're spending all this time talking and no change is actually happening. And there is so much fatigue around that, I think.
Yeah, John, how does this fatigue actually culminate, right? Because we will have a general election at some point soon. The smaller parties do not tend to do that well at general elections under our current voting system. That is just the way that it tends to go. So you're going to end up with some kind of binary choice, almost definitely, between the Tories and Labour. I spoke to a former Conservative minister last week who just said to me when he was around that cabinet table, he was banging his head off it because people did not seem to get how much of an issue it was for the British public, mass illegal immigration. They just don't seem to get it, do they?
Well, I'm not sure they want to get it. I mean, that's part of the problem. And there's no doubt that the level of legal immigration did take people by surprise when it was 750,000 last year.
Yeah.
And that issue people find puzzling. So if the government are trying to tighten immigration, Cameron used to talk about tens of thousands. And here we are with 750,000. So people are already thinking, what are they up to? And I think the other thing is, which is genuine and which is referred to by politicians, is people are so upset at the idea that you don't need to fill in forms or anything. Just get onto a small dinghy and cross the channel on a nice day, and you'll be all right. People hate that.
With having refugees welcome signs. Is it any wonder, Stella, that we've got people risking their lives? Hang on a minute. Is it any wonder we've got people risking their lives to get into dinghies or to cling onto the back of lorries or anything when they know that there's a Labour Shadow Home Secretary there waiting for them with a big refugees welcome sign?
I'm sorry, but the Labour Shadow Home Secretary is saying that. I am saying that. I'm not the Labour Shadow Home Secretary. The Labour
Party, she is as well.
The Labour Party has made it very clear that they want to.
That they want refugees.
No, they've made it very clear that what they're going to do they're going to take control of how many people are coming here. And the way that you do that is by having an agreement with your neighbouring countries where you have cooperated on what you're going to do.
You know those neighbouring countries, right?
Yes.
Right now could, if they decided to, stop the boats in a heartbeat because they could confiscate the off-board motors and the boats themselves at every single customs official.
That would not
and
solve
they're not
the
doing
problem.
it. So why?
That would not
so
solve
why
the
should we trust them? Why should we trust their close relationship with them?
That would not solve the problem. Actually, Keir Starmer's plan, which does actually say that you will allow a set number of asylum seekers to come to the UK, is going to work a lot better because if you are not going to give people a legal route to the UK, they will come here anyway. And guess what? You are making the problem worse, because what used to happen is you used to have people come here as refugees or as seasonal workers and then go back home to their families, because that's what most people want to do. They want to get away from a bad situation, develop professionally or educationally, and then go back to where they came from. But they can no longer do that, because you've made it so difficult for people to do that they have to be afraid about their future status.
Stella, it's not difficult for people to do that because we've got record levels of people, both legal and illegal,
you also have
coming to this country.
The whole world is also 8.1 billion. That's a record level of global population. This is why you have record levels of immigration.